Welcome to our show, Your Miracle Resource. Today we're going to talk about communication that helps you get the results, build the relationships, and get the respect that you deserve. So today I bring you research from over 100 corporations. They may be big brands that you know and that you're used to seeing all the time, or they may be startups. It may be a small organization like a nonprofit. But the research that we've done at Miracle Resources shows what works to build results, relationship, and grow respect. So I'll pull up our first visual for you. Respectful communication is about increasing your awareness and revenue. In our show, we talk about building your brand, your team, and your revenue. So today I'm going to cover techniques that, again, are researched by going to over 100 different corporations and companies that we've worked with and done trainings for. Also, I'm proud to be a professor at the University of Akron and Kent State University. I have the ability to work with students, and in the summer I work with clients who are celebrities, athletes, as well as people you may know seeing on your local TV station. So let's go to our next visual. Here's what we've learned. When it comes to communication, we have to talk about, what do I do with this situation? Sometimes communication gets very heated. We have learned, working with over 15,000 professionals, that the best advice is to ice it. Just like when somebody gets hurt in an athletic situation, we need to ice it to bring down that swelling. We need to ice it and maybe say, let's talk about it in an hour or two, or talk about it within 24 hours. This gives us time to strategize. We need to learn, and then we act. Then we may be able to teach, then we may be able to fix. Let me give you an example of this. Miracle Resources has 54 trainers that work throughout the country delivering our training programs. There are times that they will call me after a training. They just want me to know something. They just want me to learn about something that has happened. They may want me to act on it. They may want me to fix it. They may want to just vent to me. So think about that when we communicate. Sometimes we need to ice it and take the time to think it through and then strategize. So let's look at our next technique. The cost of half listening. So much of communication is listening, and let me share something with you. I made a huge mistake in my career by half listening. This situation happened about 2 weeks after my mother had passed, and I was talking with someone and I literally was not focused on what they were saying. Later in the day, I responded via email to what I half listened to, and that came out very wrong to the person who I was talking with. Now, what does that cost us? That can cost us loss of respect. That can cost us loss of a relationship. That can really hurt us when we look about the results that we want to achieve. Now, I was lucky because I went to this person and said, you know, my mom had just passed. I was half listening. I'm so sorry. But quite honestly, that relationship has never been the same. So it's kind of like this little cat where she's got the body language of, I really want you to pet me, but I also kind of want to bite you. And you guys know when you approach an animal, you need to take a moment and evaluate what you're going into. Had I done this differently, the person I was talking to that I half listened to, quite honestly, what I would have done, I would have evaluated myself and said, I'm so sorry, I can't focus on what you're saying right now. Can we meet in 2 hours? Or I would have said, my mom just passed and there's some things I need to deal with. Can we set up a later meeting? So part of communication that people forget is the listening. We cannot half listen. Let's look at our next resource. Inclusive and exclusive. The story of two moms. We have two moms discussing, and even in the workplace, we'll have people discuss that they will say the way they do things. We all have a different way of doing things, right? When we are inclusive, we are listening and we are talking and learning. We're not just promoting in an exclusive way what we have to say. Our biggest problem in communication today is that we expect everyone to do it exactly the same. Today I'm presenting to you techniques and resources, but I want you to know, people aren't apples or oranges. We're all different, right? Not everyone's an apple, not everyone's an orange. If you had an apple and an orange in front of you, you would never expect them to taste the same, would you? Well, each person is different. Each person is unique. Miracle Resources teaches strategic personal branding, and we bring out the best. So each one of us communicates, but the way that I will share with you today is about bringing out your own inclusive communication that deals more with listening. So let's take a look at our next resource. Appreciative inquiry. This has changed my life. And I want to talk about some personal communication. I know we talk about business a lot on Miracle Resources, our show, but I want to talk about personal for a second. If your child came home with a bad grade, what would you say? Normally you would say, what happened? That's the wrong question. The right question is using appreciative inquiry. It's saying to your child, what grade do you want to get in this class? What do you want to have happen in this class? Now, interestingly enough, going across the country and doing these speeches and trainings, I heard one story that I have to share with you. It's very interesting. It was so funny to hear that one of the people that used appreciative inquiry found that their child really wanted to get an A in their class, but the person sitting next to them was talking all the time. And since they were talking all the time, they couldn't listen. So once the person asked, the father asked their child, what do you want to have happen in this class? Guess what happened? They explained the situation. We got to the core of the real problem. So appreciative inquiry is everything. So instead of asking what happened, ask someone, what did you want to have happen in this situation? Let's go to our next slide. Now, in this one, this is full of text, but I want you to take a look at it because this is the ultimate customer service technique. Going across the country and working with corporations and businesses, small and large, we have found that in customer service and in our listening, number one thing, let's evaluate. We have to stop before we react. Then we ask what happened. So let's say you have a customer comes to you, they're very upset. Well, we would evaluate the body language, evaluate the tone, the way the person is communicating, not only visually, but also with what they're saying. Then we would ask them what happened. We would use appreciative inquiry. We would say, how can we help in this situation? What can I do to help you? Then we would respond. Now let's stay on this slide just for a little bit more. I want to give you a scenario, and there is a street called 77. I know we have listeners all over and people who are viewing all over the country, but there is a main road called 77 Highway. Then there's a road called Rockside Road. You have to turn on Rockside Road to get to most of the businesses in this Northeast Ohio area. Well, one of our clients, we taught this system. A woman had come in and said that on Rockside Road, she walked in the business and said, I got 4 flat tires in your parking lot. Well, we had trained everyone in the company, and so what they did was they evaluated. They evaluated the body language of this person. They evaluated her need. Then they asked the question, which is so important. And the woman said, I heard my tires flapping on the highway 77. When I pulled into your parking lot, they were all flat. What did we just learn? The tires did not go flat in the parking lot. The tires went flat on 77. That's where the incident happened. So again, it wasn't the responsibility of our client in their parking lot. Then we used appreciative inquiry and asked the question, how can we help? The woman did not want 4 new tires. Do you know what she wanted? She wanted to be able to charge her phone and borrow a phone to call AAA so that way she could get the tires that she needed. So we responded. We did not react. So a key in communication is making sure that we're not reacting, that we're responding. So we use EAR. And again, evaluate, ask, appreciative inquiry, and respond. Next technique. Now, we know we've got some secret weapons in communication. Feeding the dog. You feed your dog at the same time every day. When it comes to customers, clients, and relationships, if we can expect that someone is going to call us or work with us in a certain time limit each week. Here's an example. My company, Miracle Resources, Friday morning, I have to get up really early, make sure all of the clients have everything they need. They expect us to give them what they need, thus feeding the dog, making sure they have what they need to do their job. They expect that. If they don't hear from us on Friday in the morning, they may think something's wrong. The other communication is 3 to 5. How many of you love reading a 16-paragraph email? No one does, right? What 3 to 5 is, it takes 3 minutes for your reader to read it, 5 minutes for you to write it. It's a quick communication. And then there's the positive update. Sometimes we may overhear something. We do not want to react on gossip. So our communication needs to be positive. We give a positive update so that way people know what's happening. In our next resource, we talk about the biggest problem in expectations. And here it is. We expect from people without sharing what we want them to do. This is where communication breaks down. And again, working with over 100 brands across the country, this is sad. This is where people get in arguments and they fight, and this is how communication breaks down, personally and professionally. When we expect something of someone, we need to research that. We then need to release what we've researched, or if we have a question about it. And if we found in our research that we're wrong to have that expectation, we need to reframe our expectations. Let me give you an example, still using this slide. Take a look at it. If you started a new job and you felt that things should be done a certain way in that job, you would research and you would find out before you released it to everyone that you had this expectation. You would find out if that company does do it the way you think it should be done. Now, you would reframe your expectation. Now, this is the fun part. 15,000 different professionals we've worked with going into corporations. People will tell me this even works with their family, their relatives, their friends. We need to research our expectation, and if we have an expectation and we don't share it, then we shouldn't feel that we deserve it. And oftentimes we may need to reframe that expectation. Our next resource focuses on the best secret weapon ever. This is my favorite. We created this and now we share it across the country. It's called the $1 Million Question. I learned this question the hard way. I had someone who was a mentee, and I saw them at an event years after we had worked together, and they acted very strange. I evaluated the body language, and very strange. It kind of felt like maybe they were angry with me. What did I find out? And I had to change my behavior because of this. I didn't communicate and follow up. And I found out 3 years later when the same person, this mentee, approached me and said, when I saw you 3 years ago, I was very upset because of a loss in my family. You know, I felt horrible because what I didn't do was ask the question. I should have asked a question to this person. I could have been there for them. I could have maybe helped them through their grief. I could have been the mentor I was supposed to be. What I should have said after this situation of the weird body language, a great $1 million question would be, when I saw you at the event, I wondered, did I say something or do something that bothered you? And then they would say, oh, no, it's just that I had a loss in my family. When you don't use the $1 million question, you're in trouble because you don't find out the core of the real problem. Or, and this is a huge mistake people make, so keep this slide up when we talk about the $1 million question. I need you to know, if you say to the person, boy, you seemed really weird when I saw you at that event, that's not going to work. That's going to put them on the defensive. The $1 million question means that you get to the core of the real problem and you build and maintain the relationship. If you noticed, I put it on me. I said, when I saw you, I wondered, did I say something or do something that bothered you? Now, some of you may not be comfortable putting it on yourself. But remember, if you say to someone, oh, I saw you in an event and you acted really weird, that is going to shut them down. That kills the relationship. And we're about using communication to build the relationship. Let's go to our next resource. Leaders who share the secret. Again, from the beginning of my presentation, I talked with you about building results, building relationships, and building respect. There are oftentimes people come to you and they just want to vent. Sometimes they want you to take action, and sometimes they just want you to know what happened. So if you're working with a team and you hear something, don't just act on it. Ask them these questions. Do you want me to take action? Do you want to just vent? Do you want me just to know about this? These are powerful communication tools. They help build brands, teams, and revenue. So let me share our next resource with you. I'm very excited to tell you that Miracle Resources has made an alliance with Dr. Tui at the Cleveland Clinic. We are so excited about his research. He is working on a vaccine, not only for breast cancer, but ovarian cancer as well. Now, many of you may not know, and I'm filming in October, it is Breast Cancer Awareness Month, but many of you may not know that 1 in 7 women is now diagnosed with breast cancer. So when you hire Miracle Resources, myself or one of our 54 trainers, 10% of what you pay us is going straight to Dr. Tui's research, and we're really proud of that. So I want to invite you to ask us for help. It is impossible to try to do this training by yourself. Know that our team is there to help you, whether it's myself or one of our 54 trainers across the country. There are times that you need a team lunch and learn. There are times that you need a seminar or you need a speaker. We would love to help you. And let me share with you that we have in our next resource our book club coming up. We've been asked to put out both of our books to help everyone get ready for our January kickoff. So the book that you see, Discovering Your Dawn, we are reading before December 31st. January 1st of 2019, we are doing a book study, and I'll be using this format, this show, to go through each chapter of your strategic personal brand. This will help you grow your respect, your results, and your relationships. So feel free to connect to us. We have our Facebook page, Miracle Resources, or you can go ahead and book both of these on Amazon. We're really excited about this study, and we're here to help you. Thank you very much for joining Your Miracle Resource.